Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and of course, so-called human beings, welcome to the channel. I'm Cap. This is my place. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. And for those of you who are first-timers, welcome in. This week, for our monthly cooking tutorial, we are going to do one video on trimming beef tenderloin, and then we're going to quick follow it up on that week's Friday with a demonstration on how to cook, a way to cook beef tenderloin. Now, please do me a big favor. Remember to like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Doing all those things that are free for you to do helps suggest to YouTube that they share the video with more people. Let's get to the video. Hi everyone. Welcome back to the kitchen for this month's tutorial. Normally, what we do is prepare basic recipes for those of you who are on your own for the first time or who have lost a domestic partner who did most of the cooking, or all of it, and you find yourself unprepared to fend for yourself in the kitchen. What we're going to do today is something maybe a bit more in the realm of a medium advanced, because some of you may be in relationships, and next month in February we have Valentine's Day. That puts pressure on you to take your marginally significant other off to some restaurant and probably drop a total of $200 or $250 to feed two people. Hold on. Instead, what I'm going to recommend that you do is go to your grocery store meat department or a standalone butcher shop and purchase a beef tenderloin. Some of you who are maybe a bit older know that beef tenderloin is marketed in restaurants as filet mignon. And price-wise, restaurants retail that starting at $55, going up into the $80s or even $90, not including your beverage, not including your expensive dessert, and that kind of restaurant does not serve breadsticks. So you're thinking, Cap, are you out of your mind? I can't afford a filet mignon. Yes, you can. Because what you're going to buy is an entire beef tenderloin. It's called PSMO, P-S-M-O, peeled side muscle on. And what it looks like is this. This horrendous mess is a whole beef tenderloin. And this is not $200. It's not $100. This is $60. This gets you set for Valentine's Day, birthdays, and for those of you who are beginning relationships, an anniversary. And size-wise, for comparison, here's a full-size spray can of Rosola. Now, here's the thing with a complete beef tenderloin. It's not ready for prime time as it comes from the meat department or the butcher. It's got a lot of silver skin on it. It has a side muscle called the chain that has to be removed. It's got some tendons that are about the size of my little finger that run the length of it. And it has fat. Because of where it's located, that fat comes from the area of the beef cattle kidney suet. And that's not something you want to be trying to render down. It needs to be cut off. So now, as we usually do, we're going to take a look at the equipment we need. Then I'll show you how to trim this up so that it's not only presentable, but you get to score points with your marginally or semi-significant other. So as always, the first thing we need, besides clean hands and a clean surface, we need our cutting board. We need a bowl. Well, we actually need two bowls. We're going to need paper towel, because we do need to pat it dry to make handling easier and safer. We need our kitchen shears to cut the vacuum sealed package open. We're going to do a lot of cutting. We need gloves. Now, speaking of cutting, usually the knife you see me use looks like this. This is not an appropriate knife to use for this type of task because the belly of the knife from the spine to the edge of the blade is too deep. But what we need is something like this. This is going to be very maneuverable as we're removing fat, silver skin, and tendons. And as a matter of fact, because there's going to be a lot to do here, I've got 3 knives. And they all need to be very sharp at the beginning. Okay, everybody. This thing that looks like it burst out of that dude's chest in the movie Aliens really is one of the most expensive and delicious pieces of meat that's available off a cow, or excuse me, a steer. As you can see, this is the side muscle I was talking about. It's called the chain. Most of this will come off just with some careful work with a thumb and a finger. Some cutting may be necessary, but there's a seam here. And we're going to just follow it with our fingers. If the knife is necessary, which on this one, places it is, we'll take one and we'll get this cleaned up. We'll also take this piece of silver skin. This is a membrane that surrounds the muscle. This will not render down. This one luckily does not have that much fat on it, except for on the chain muscle. What little there is though, like this piece right here, isn't going to render well. So we're going to very carefully trim that off. And of course, this membrane is also not going to break down. So I'm going to take one of the small knives and I'm going to just kind of get in here . And it'll show you, as you can see here from what I'm doing, it's going to show you where it wants to separate. One of the things I'm doing for both convenience and safety, these are a 10 mil glove. I'm wearing 2 of them on my right hand. That way, if I puncture the outer one, or if things get too slimy for some reason, I can always peel that outer glove off and I've got a clean hand again. Okay, this here is the chain muscle, and we're going to clean this up. Here we have some of that fat I was talking about. We'll just go ahead and gently put this over here for now. Slowly, methodically work our way around here. Some of this fat is going to be okay. Some of it's got some silver skin underneath it. Let's see here if we can find a good place to start. So this membrane is very tough. We want a knife, just a little one like this, with a sharp tip. As you can see, begins to trim off very easily, and we're not taking any meat. And again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to slip the tip of the knife underneath the membrane. And once I've made a pocket, you can see how easily it separates. I'm really not using any pressure here. The knife is doing all the work. I'm going to turn the blade, the edge of the blade upward towards the membrane. And I'm going to peel this off. Just like this. We're going to just go ahead. Don't be intimidated by this. It's not difficult to do. Just take your time. Now this type of tissue will dull your knife blade. As a matter of fact, I can feel this one getting dull already. All right, everybody. At this point, I've got the tenderloin trimmed up. Sometimes the chain muscle doesn't come off cleanly because of the tendons. This is all tendons and the hard fat and silver skin membrane that came off of this piece of meat. The chain muscle, some people grind that when they make sausage and just include it in the mix. I think it's a real shame to do something like that. It's a delicious, very tender piece of meat. And this is what we've ended up with from our beef tenderloin. At this point, you have the option of doing some seasoning. I don't recommend any heavy kind of rubs. This is although it has very little fat in it, it's a really delicious, tender piece of meat. I recommend a little salt and pepper, maybe some garlic. I like to use garlic salt. All we're trying to do is bring out the natural flavor of the meat. If you want at this point, you can slice it and cook it that way, or the other thing you can do is take some butcher's twine and tie it up like this and cook it in the oven or on any of the various eggs and kettles using indirect heat, and then searing it direct heat for a few minutes. Anyhow, we'll do a little bit of a demonstration on that in the next video. New videos every Wednesday, and as weird things pop into my otherwise empty head, on Mondays or Fridays. Thanks for watching, everyone.